Če smo zdaj bili pri inovativni družbi in se sprašvali o izzivu prihodnosti, dotaknili smo se tudi vrednot, se pa zdaj selimo k nekomu, ki se nam bo javil iz, ne vem pravzaprav točno kje, to bo zdaj povedala iz Balja, evo, in bomo inovativno spremljali pot Marcela Gasserja. To je, kaj ne rečem, digitalni nomad, raziskovalec in ustvarjalec prostorov za sodelo in sobivanje. Marcel je namreč prepotoval in živel že v več kot 80 državah sveta in ni še končal. V zadnjih 10 letih je pomagal postaviti več kot 10 podjetij in je tudi vodja švicarskega poglavja Global Entrepreneurship Network, kjer je njegova največja motivacija povezati švicarske podjetnike z globalnimi vrstniki. Verjame, da prihodnost pripada trajnostnemu podjetništvu, ki prinaša neko dodano vrednost. Njegov moto pa je, malo podobno, bi se lahko zdaj navezala na zadnjo misel, ampak on pa pravi, prava avantura se začne, ko se avantura zaključi. Tako da vidimo, kakšna je ta inovativno zgrajenje skupnosti, ali pa sobivanja. Marcel, dobrodošel, se slišimo? Aha. Vidimo se, oziroma mi ga vidimo. Ja, lahko se predstavljate, če boste videli, da boljšo videli na ta način. In zdaj bomo imeli živo prikaz delovanja tehnike. Samo še zvoka, ne? Marcel, ne id. Mi smo tu.
I'm ready.
Great. Can you hear us?
Yes, I hear.
Okay, great. So, welcome, Marcel. We are ready.
Can I start?
Yes, you can start. Samo vprašanje, a vsi razumete angleško, ker Marcel bo govoril v angleškem jeziku, če to ne razume, lahko tudi prevajamo. Smo vsi v redu s tem? Če bo potrebno na koncu povedati. Marcel, you can start.
Okay, I have 10 minutes and then 2 minutes for questions. I will use the time as much as possible. I'm honored to join you from Bali and talk a little bit about co-living and also co-working. And I mean, in Celju, I've also visited the space and I'm a good friend of Tom, so it's nicer for me that I have an understanding of the building and the space. For me, I'm in the co-working, co-living industry since a few years, and I would say there is a kind of a dilemma because everybody is talking about community, but the community doesn't really exist in most of the cases. Even Impact Hub or WeWork, which are, I would say, quite leading in the field of at least co-working. Then there are some other technical problems I don't really, I mean, maybe one, but what was the problem of WeWork? They have long-term contracts with the landlords, so 10, 15 years, but renting their desks for 2 to 6 months. So that kind of gives a lot of risk. A lot of people are more looking for freedom, and for our opinion, the biggest problem is you're still paying rent. And that's a huge issue, we believe, because we all know when you pay rent, you pay much more than if you own your own house or your own apartment. And that is for both for office rent and also for accommodation. You pay too much if you don't own it. And also a lot of co-working space lose hugely money. And I would say WeWork will not survive, and maybe within the next 12 months already, because they can never make money actually. So what is it for co-living? Why we are interested in co-living? Because we believe that the houses became more kind of a speculative asset. It's not where or we have a belonging or a families together. It's more like for speculation. And also, it is more a unit or a shelter of need. So we just have a roof and maybe a kitchen, but it doesn't really support us in, let's say, to relax, or let's say to calm down in the evening after a day of work, or to talk with other people, because we're all living in apartments and our own kind of situation, not in families anymore. So this gives a few opportunities, and the market is going really much in the gig economy. And the gig economy means that we work on contracts or projects, so you don't have fixed employment. We actually came from that 100 years ago. Nobody was really on a fixed employment, and the flexibility is increasing because everything is speeding up. And why, or what we think is most important, that transparency and efficiency is not yet in the price, because we became much more transparent with internet, so we know office costs in Celju, for example, per square meter, €100 per month, per year. And some co-working spaces are asking for a ridiculous amount of money per month. We did a survey, and even in Berlin, a fair price would be around €50 per hot desk for medium co-work space, and 100 for a prime, but the prices are double. So it is not fair, it's not transparent. And the last one, again, we believe that a lot of people look, especially in co-living, for ownership. They want to buy their own apartment. The problem is they can't afford it just themselves, and also then you depend on one location. I'm not going to talk about those global trends. So our solution is kind of, we believe it's around 8 pillars. It needs to be co-owned, co-created, transparent, flexible, network globally. We need to provide experience that's both in co-living and co-working, because even if you produce products, you're not selling a product, you sell experiences. And customer will not buy products in the future, they buy experiences. And sustainability, of course, purpose and growth. And so out of this we created like 8 values, which are really the key of our intention with Akasha co-living. Usually I explain it's more like a university where you share ideas, inspiration with other people. And the living is not very important. That everybody has his own space, his own kind of apartment or bedroom. But at the end, it's more about the content, what we actually discuss, what you can create, for example, in business, or how you can scale each other's projects. So we strongly believe it is really about the values. Values are important. And for that we want to build 20-25 locations globally, hopefully one also near Celju. It would be super nice, Slovenia. We have already 2 in Switzerland, Thailand, Berlin, Estonia, so we see those locations coming on a with a global network. And then it's basically a timeshare. Many of you maybe have heard about timeshare. So, for example, hotels do the same. You own a bedroom, and then you can use it a few months, and the rest is going to rent it out to other people. And that gives you a much better price. So that's kind of, for us, the importance that we own the places together. It's not owned by corporate or investors. And the rest I already mentioned, University of Growth, so we really focus on the content, we focus on technology, and of course that we can create together meaningful businesses or help each other to grow our own businesses. And flexibility, so I can move around, I can be in Bali a month, then 2 months in Slovenia and Berlin, wherever. And the biggest, most important thing of all co-working, co-living is the community, so that you really understand the people, that you try to connect the right people, and also community facilitation and community building is super important. And I believe, back to the values, that you have a strong community, you need to agree on certain values, for example, sustainability or well-being or whatever. These are just two thoughts we have. So it's a common unity, so community and co-create, and with nature as possible, and also inspired by nature. So I know a lot of people who look forward to be back more in the nature, maybe half an hour out of the cities, or because also transportation will be much easier in the near future. So that's another thing. I mean, this is quite deeply installed in our human DNA to grow, and it's also in nature actually. It's kind of a principle that you can grow and have a thriving environment. I believe co-working and co-living can be really the future, because we became so disconnected and lonely. In the past we had families, we had a community which really cared and helped each other, and today it's more everybody's trying themselves. So that's it. If you have a question, I'm here.
Thank you so much, Marcel. Thank you. We can give you, can you hear the applause? Any question? Kako vprašanje? Ne? Komentar?
Razumel sem, da bodo v Celju delali.
Da bi rado delali.
Se že... Okay. Can I ask you, I heard you said that you will build some community near Celju?
Yes, we are in discussion with Domen, and I would really love to build a community also in Slovenia. There are many aspects which we think are important, like also location-wise within Europe and in between Austria, Croatia. I believe it can work. So we plan a bigger event actually in May, end of May, early June, where we bring architects, where we bring around 50 people. Most likely it will be in Italy, where we discuss how those communities should look like. And hopefully we can already start also the conversation around Slovenia.
So this is the idea that is being developed? Is developed?
I mean, yes, you need to build, we need to build buildings, usually from scratch. We have some spaces where we actually buy existing buildings. So, but on average we want to create space for 80 people. So sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more, around 50 to 100 people living together.
Okay, I didn't catch up. How is this financing this kind of project?
Financing is done, as I explained, it's a timeshare, so the community, the 2,000 people, we want to build 2,000 bedrooms for 2,000 people, and they invest for their own room. So that means, on average, I don't know, Slovenia will be around 50,000 euro per bedroom. So everybody is investing a 50K and they have a bedroom. But not only in Slovenia, they have it in those other 20 locations, 25 locations.
Yeah. So once you have the space, right? then you have, there are some costs with maintaining that. So how do you plan to come, I mean, from where will that come, that money for maintaining everything?
Yeah, that's a very good question. There was a project in the Netherlands, it was Prihodnost. They did a big ICO to raise money to build 4 co-working spaces on blockchain. And they rent, so it's same with our idea, we rent out those bedrooms, and when we rent them out to, let's say I only stay 3 months a year in my own bedroom, and 9 months the community is renting out my personal bedroom. The community takes a cut, and this cut needs to be 20 to 30%. Same like Airbnb is doing. And with this income and other like programs, we invite other people for having experiences in those communities. We have also membership, monthly membership revenues. So with this we are able to pay the operation. But it's a good question, you need to have a stable income, because Prihodnost, I think they went bankrupt. They had only 10% they took only 10% commission, which was obviously way too low, and we already have foreseen that. I thought that already 2 years it cannot sustain.
Okay. Thank you very much, Marcel. I think you raised some great topics and also questions, and I'm sure we will still have a good discussion now on your input here, so thank you again.
Okay, great. I mean, on the website you find all the details, and Domin knows me well, so it was a great lecture.
We will definitely connect with you more, so we will share the contact.
Okay, thank you. Have a nice day and all the best.
Thank you and all the best, Bali. Ciao. Super, imeli smo odlično javljanje iz Balija, tudi dobro povezavo. Mislim, da smo dobili dobre inpute za kakšne nove misli, vprašanja, nek nov pogled v to, kaj pa je še možno kot globalno grajenje nekih sobivalnih